Hello again. In this video we're going to cover the annual allowances of £3,000 per person, which is an exemption allowance for inheritance tax. So very simply, it allows every person to gift £3,000 per year to other people. Those other people can be whoever you want it to be. Now, bear in mind that this allowance is per person, not based on the number of people you give it to. So you can't give £3,000 to your son, £3,000 to your daughter, and £3,000 to your grandchildren. No, your allowance is £3,000. If you split £1,000 between each one of those parties, it would be fine, but your allowance is £3,000. Now, if you haven't gifted or utilised your allowance in the previous financial year, and it's worked out by financial years, then you can utilise £6,000 in this current financial year. But once you've used the previous year's allowance in full, you only get this year's allowance, and you can't go back more than 1 year. Now, although this particular allowance has been frozen for longer than I care to remember, it's still a worthwhile allowance, because a married couple, for instance, can give away £6,000 a year to their children from their capital, and that be immediately outside of the estate for inheritance tax. So £6,000 a year over 10 years adds up to £60,000, and that's, you know, excluding growth, even £24,000 of tax saved. So not small, and because that amount of money could put 1 or 2 children through university, for instance. So well worth using as an allowance, and certainly should be integrated into the majority of clients' planning, provided of course that they have the liquid capital to do so, and if they don't, they should seek to liquidate some of their capital to enable them to do so. I think a very useful allowance, and very underutilized by most advisors. Unfortunately, I don't know why many advisors, they don't earn money from it, I suppose, but as far as I'm concerned, excellent advice to clients to make sure they utilize that allowance, and certainly something that we will be talking to most of our clients about. So in summary, you've got £3,000 a year. You can use the previous year's allowance if you haven't used it. So that's £6,000 in the current year possibly, but thereafter making gifts every single year of that £3,000 is a very sensible way of starting to eat into some level at least of your potential inheritance tax liability, and therefore useful in and of itself.